Beyond Bitcoin Hangouts are meant to give everyone a voice, a chance to speak with others who are passionate advocates for expanding the blockchain's use cases out into the world and beyond. Do you have a crypto community you would like to represent and hold open hangouts for? If so, you might find yourself on the path to owning a stake in Beyond Bitcoin. We are looking for people who care about people who want to bring others together, because crypto communities are people. Beyond Bitcoin is a movement of thinkers and doers in the crypto space. And if you feel you are one of them, reach out to beyondbitcoin@gmail.com for more information on how to debut your community's efforts to reach to the stars and beyond.
Hello everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Beyond Bitcoin radio show. Today, my name is Chris4210 and today I'm gonna help Fuzzy out, who's just getting lost in the jungle of the Philippines and he's haunted by dogs, and he has a couple of problems to join us via the microphones, but he's going to be available by chat. So I'm going to help him a little bit, and we're going to talk about the next upcoming cool projects in the blockchain ecosystem all around. PeerPlays, BlockPay, eSteem is also coming, YGrow, and at the end we're also going to talk about Timcliff, who's going to be one of the Steemit backup witnesses, and I'm very curious about what he's going to tell us about his position and how he wants to climb the ranks to become one of the top new witnesses on Steemit. Before we get started, we want to start with PeerPlays. Jonathan, are you here today? Great. Take us away, please.
Good day, everybody. My name is Jonathan Bahai. I am the president of the PeerPlays Blockchain Standards Association, otherwise known as the PBSA. And the PBSA is leading the PeerPlays project. And today, I've got a lot of exciting, as you know, this coming Sunday at 1500 UTC, that's February 26th, we will finally be having our public crowd sale. And so if you haven't already, go to peerplays.com and you'll see the countdown clock taking place. And if you haven't entered your email yet, be sure to enter it so that you can get notification. So that is taking place this Sunday, February 26th at 1500 UTC, otherwise known as 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for some people who go by that time. So this past week, we released quite a bit of information regarding the PeerPlays project. On Tuesday, we released the PeerPlays Bulletin. This bulletin contains a lot of information about the project. First, it goes into details about the development of PeerPlays going forward, the types of things we'll be focusing on, primarily in sports betting to start. And it also goes into details about the PBSA itself, the team and the executive board that make up the PeerPlays Blockchain Standards Association. It also goes into details in regards to the breakdown of PPY tokens and the date for the launch of the PeerPlays blockchain. It's a really great document. We put a lot of time and energy into it to ensure that everybody has a really good overview of everything that's taking place, the people that are involved, how the breakdown of the tokens takes place, and get a good sense for the development going forward. So that's what took place this week, and we got the crowd sale coming up next week. So with that, I'd like to pass this update on to Michael, who is going to go into more details about these aspects, and he'll also be able to answer any questions that people may have.
Hey, thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, this is Michael Maloney speaking. I am the Director of Intelligence at PBSA, and I actually think I'm gonna. I've got a little bit to talk about here. Maybe I'll start out with that. I'm not very good at speaking and reading the side columns simultaneously. So, Chris, if you can keep an eye on that for me, that'd be awesome. And if you see any questions that pop up, let me know. I also have to minimize my mumble here so I can kind of look at my notes in the background. So,
Sure, no problem. I'm gonna get every question and put it forward to you.
excellent, thank you. So I wanted to talk a little bit today. We've had some good discussions on our Rocket chat over the last week, and there's been a number of different questions that people have been asking regarding different I would say logistical / technical aspects of the PeerPlays project. One of the big questions that came up was questions revolving around the reserve pool and how a reserve pool operates. And so I'll go a little bit into a little bit of detail on that. Another big question that came up was the mechanism for the PeerPlays profit sharing distributions. How it is that the funds are collected and how they're distributed to the holders of PPY tokens. So I'll talk about that a little bit. And yeah, those were the two main topics I think that were that people had a lot of questions about. So I'll start with the reserve pool. The reserve pool is a pool of tokens that is held by the blockchain. Now these tokens don't technically exist, meaning they're not tokens that are actually held by individual people and traded. None of the they don't have any voting power. They don't receive any profit sharing dividend payouts. They're simply basically a pool of potential, we should say, and from that pool is drawn. There's different ways in which those tokens can be utilized by the DAC. So the DAC, as we all are familiar with, is sort of a term that describes the, in a broad sense, the overall functioning, the overall players involved, and the overall operations of how the blockchain works, how everyone who participates in the blockchain ecosystem works together. And in the case of a graphene blockchain, which is what PeerPlays is, the reserve pool is the pool of potential tokens from which the witnesses are paid. So witnesses, of course, are operating full nodes, and they're running the software to be involved with that. They're also, of course, deciding ultimately what new software gets forked into the blockchain. They are also, in PeerPlays, going to be involved with publishing numbers of different types of data feeds for specifically for sports betting and the results of games and things of this nature in order to resolve markets in the betting exchange. And so these witnesses obviously it's a paid position. And the way that happens is that the tokens are shifted from the reserve pool into the witnesses' accounts every time that they sign a block. And so, there's a certain rate that's set that essentially gives the witnesses a certain amount of pay. And naturally, that it's advantageous of the DAC to set that at a rate that, is going to incentivize good witnesses, right? Because good people don't really, work for chump change. They want to, we want to attract good people. So there's, that's part of the reserve pool. Then the other part is something called proposals. Now, PeerPlays or the legacy software that Graphene, the MIT licensed Graphene toolkit operates, is kind of a I'm really going to call it antiquated at this point, even though not to stir up any BitShares people who might be kind of attached to it. But let's just say there's many improvements that can happen to the proposal system, and this is part of what we're working on is putting together a work proposal system that mirrors much more something that's can essentially be utilized in a more simple and a simple way, and also a way that's more accountable. So the work proposal system will not be the same proposal system as BitShares uses, but in fact will be an upgraded version with a lot more control, both for people placing the proposals and also for the voters on the DAC. So naturally, again, from the reserve pool, no tokens ever come into existence unless the current token holders vote to approve those. So there's direct accountability there. There's a direct will of the stakeholders is what drives that particular function. And we've seen, of course, in a number of different DACs that have utilized this. We've got an example, for example, Dash. If you guys may be familiar with Dash, they've utilized their work proposal system pretty well. harnessed that. They've turned it into generating a huge amount of value for their ecosystem, and anyone who's been sort of keeping track of that has watched the Dash token increase in value significantly over the past year. And then there's some, projects that have sort of struggled a little bit with the work proposal system, and are still sort of working on figuring out how to make that work. So ultimately, we want to come up with something that we have come up with something actually, but implement something that will really put the power in everyone's hands and make it very easy to make that choice if everyone wishes to.
So that means that you're also going to have a worker system that people can apply for work and work for the PeerPlays platform, correct?
Yes, that is correct. So look here in the sidebar. I don't think there was anything specifically about work proposals that anybody asked. Okay. So I'll move on to the second topic I was speaking of earlier, and that is the profit sharing. So how does that work? How does the mechanism work that transfers the fees of the blockchain into the hands of PPY holders, or should I say, into the accounts of PPY holders? Essentially, whenever there's a game played on the PeerPlays network, and you can check out the video that we have on peerplays.com/news. There's a video that Chris put up there, Chris Coney, that walks you through the game on our old ugly testnet. The one we've got a new really awesome wallet interface that we're releasing in a few weeks, but nevertheless you can see all the functionality and kind of understand a little bit better how the process works. But essentially, when you register for a game, anyone who registers for a tournament is going to pay a buy-in fee. You can actually create a tournament and create whatever buy-in fee you want, and then other people can register for that tournament, also pay the buy-in fee. Everyone can play the game, and when the tournament's resolved, when the winner is resolved, which is determined by the smart contracts on the blockchain, then the tokens are distributed, and of course the winner will receive the jackpot, the pool that was collected and all the buy-in fees, minus a rake fee, and the rake fee is a percentage-based fee, and that goes to the network. It actually goes to a virtual account, and all rake fees for all games go to that virtual account. Also, all percentage-based fees on the sports betting exchange will go to that account. And there's a number of different scenarios and how the fees are charged from a sports betting exchange. And every interval, the intervals will likely be around 24 hours, I think is what we're going to set it at when the blockchain launches. This is something that's adjustable by the on-chain advisory committee.
And is it also where the payouts are coming from? There's a question from Fuzzy. So is it a smart contract?
Yes. So everything goes into the virtual account, and another smart contract, which is the virtual account and the smart contract are kind of the same thing. They're tied together. This is the profit sharing code that we released last July, and you can read about that as well on peerplays.com/news. So this prorates everything that's in this virtual account. It empties everything from the account and prorates it out into the accounts of PPY holders at every interval. So if we say every 24 hours, then all of the fees that were collected from all of the games, all of the sports betting exchange, of course, those fees aren't just in PPY tokens. They can be in any other gateway token like Bitcoin or ETH or literally anything that's utilized, including user created assets for various purposes. Are prorated out. Prorated meaning you get a ratio in that has to compares with your percentage based stake of the entire network into your account. So it's essentially we're not supposed to call it a dividend, so I'll put dividend in quotation marks, but it's essentially an instant dividend, meaning that everything that's coming in is prorated back out relatively quickly. And so that's essentially the nature of how the profit sharing operates. So the question is, okay, what is, how is it that PeerPlays really differs from everything else out there? And the value proposition of PeerPlays is that you don't have to hold PeerPlays PPY tokens to participate. In fact, we suspect after we have released the sports betting exchange that most people will not hold PeerPlays who use that. They'll simply enter the ecosystem with Bitcoin, and they'll wager with Bitcoin, and they'll take their payouts in Bitcoin. And a percentage of all of that Bitcoin will be prorated into the holders of PPY token into their accounts. So
how's it actually working? So if you send Bitcoin to the sports betting exchange, do you get a URA or do you get a market packed asset?
Yeah, so it'll be right now. We have gateway tokens, gateway operators. It will be a UIA. Market pegged assets. We have chosen not to implement on PeerPlays. There's a couple different reasons for that. One of them is that there are I'll be honest here, and from a wider sense, they're still, we thought, somewhat experimental. That's not to say that I personally don't believe that they will be very strong and have be proven to be effective in the future. But we wanted to rely upon things which were a little more proven, I guess, in a sort of scalability sense. Meaning that if I should say when, because I believe when BitShares market pegged assets fully scale and that mechanism is understood and known and display and shown, then this is something that we will fork in down the road. But we didn't feel that it was something that particularly the whole contract for difference engine that is used to create the MPAs was the interoperability of that combined with the profit sharing mechanism seemed to have too many variables that sort of crossed over. So I hope that makes sense the way that I said that. Basically, we have the core token, which was receiving the profit sharing into it, but then is also that token that is continually receiving a stream of quote unquote dividends is simultaneously being used to collateralize some other derivative asset, which is what the MPAs are. And there were too many variables that we weren't able to predict how things would really operate in that way. And so we chose to keep it a bit simpler and not sort of overcomplicate things when we launch.
Sounds good. So did you actually get that into the sidechain business, or is it more like the Bitcoin is ending up in a multi-signature account that is controlled by the exchange, and then the exchange is just giving you a user-issued asset, and then you can play on the platform?
Sure. Well, I can't. I can't really comment much about some of the things that we're working on because of there's a sort of sensitive nature. But I will say that for immediately when the blockchain launches, individuals will be able to utilize the UIAs, individual gateways, and create UIA tokens for people to play along with. We do have some very exciting long-term plans, actually medium-term plans, for creating a more robust gateway system. But that's all I'm going to say about that right now. But essentially, the underlying sort of takeaway is that creating very user-friendly applications that are going to give people an advantage. So what's the advantage of blockchain over everything else, right? There's everyone's very excited about the blockchain, and most of us around here are very familiar with all the advantages that it brings. But the reality is that one of the key advantages is simply that it allows you to and I don't mean this in a really bad way, but I'm just going to say it. It allows you to subvert a lot of the existing boundaries and that exists around the world, and it allows people to connect with each other without the barriers that are somewhat arbitrary that prevent them from being free to align with each other and do what they want to do economically. And so, because of that, PeerPlays is offering. And we're building applications that will be distributed in many places around the world to people who have the desire to utilize them, particularly what I'm referring to now is sports betting applications that people can, have a wager if they feel like exercising their sovereign right to do so. And this is going to we feel it's going to be a somewhat disruptive technology that we're building and bringing to the world. It's going to shake a lot of things up, but it's also going to cause a lot of excitement and just bring a lot of value to the PeerPlays network. And so, because of all that.
Well, I think it sounds very, very absolutely amazing. I think I'm very looking forward to play the first games on the real blockchain and see how we can do like a little competition doing a live hangout, and we just say like, hey, let's play a game, and we're gonna comment on it and show how it all works, so that you can really give like a live demo once everything is up. I think that would be a really cool thing for another episode of the Beyond Bitcoin Hangout. Just a short question. So I see the countdown is going down and down and down. What's going to happen tomorrow? So we're going to have the release of the paper, or can I invest already tomorrow?
So if you're speaking of the paper that Jonathan spoke about, that has actually already been released. It was released last Tuesday. If you go on to www.peerplays.com/news, it's the very first article in the slider at the top of the page. It talks about the PeerPlays bulletin. Click on that link, and it'll take you to the bulletin. It's about 25, 26 pages long. A whole about really good information. On Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern time is when that countdown clock will reach 0. And at that point in time, you'll have the opportunity to click there and be taken straight to the crowdfund page, where you'll have a counter and it'll link to all of the information. All the information is already available though, so you can read about it all right now and kind of learn and make your decision if you want to participate.
Okay, sounds cool. How long is going to be the ICO or the crowdfunding? How long is it going to be?
The crowdfunding will go until the later of either $5 million in Bitcoin are collected, or I believe it's May 12th or 13th. I've got to look again.
So basically there are two components. Either you raise enough money or the time is running out.
Yes, and it's a multi-tiered, it's a 4-tiered crowdfund. So there's 4 different tiers. They're not radically different than each other, but there is about almost a 50 cents difference between the first tier and the 4th tier. So it obviously is advantageous to get in early.
Sounds amazing. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really curious how that all work out, and I'm also curious to play the first couple of games. I think we have one more question before we're going to close down this round. We have a question from G Chicken. He's asking, I've seen in the bulletin that there would be a mobile app for casual users. I think this will be massive for usability and user adoption. Will the app be live and ready to use on the mainnet launch? Do you think Apple will give you any trouble?
Those are great questions, G Chicken. The mobile, yes, we are simultaneously designing a mobile app for the sports betting exchange. That will not be available on main launch. The sports betting exchange itself will not be available on main launch. It is truthfully one of the most advanced and complex applications that I've ever seen in my life. It is also being put together by some of the most amazingly competent programmers that I've ever seen in my life, and it's truly amazing to watch this thing come together. It is going to be really a sight to behold, and the mobile application is sort of being done in parallel to that. Graphene right now, the basic Graphene toolkit has a great JavaScript library. It doesn't have a Java library, however, an API library. So we're building that. Also, as we mentioned a few weeks ago, we're also building a Unity library, which is what we're building 3D versions of the games on top of. So, for example, right now we've started building a 3D version of our prototype game, which is Rock, Paper, Scissors. So you'll have some really cool graphics on that game. And we started working on planning out and scoping out some additional games that we're going to be putting together as time goes forward. So yeah, we've we raised about $500,000 last May in seed capital, and we've really we're really happy with what we've gotten accomplished, the people that we've brought together around this, the incentives that we've been able to align, through the reality of launching a blockchain, and being able to allocate tokens to strategic partners. And so it's really amazing. I think what we're going to be able to accomplish this year is going to be unlike anything, truthfully, that we've ever seen before. And it really is, it is due to graphene. It is due to this technology that I think many of you were very much a part of, bringing into the world. And so naturally, there's there's a lot of value here with all of us, being able to participate in this. One last thing I'll add before I sign off here, because I'm getting a little over the time limit here. One thing that I want to really stress, and I think we're gonna be brainstorming some more ideas about how to really get this point across as well as we can. Is that one of the hallmarks of these graphene blockchains? They're great. They're very high speed. You have a really high throughput capacity. You have a really amazing way to thread things together. You've got the DEX, of course. You've got all these other great things. The UIA creation, smart contracts. But they're very much dependent on participation. If you've got a stake in this PeerPlays blockchain, it's really important that if you pay attention to what's happening, vote regularly. If you can put it on your calendar to vote once a month, even, that's really important, and that really keeps things operating in a way that brings a lot of accountability. Once we have the work proposal system revamped and installed, it's really very fun. I think it's going to be very fun to be able to go on and research all the projects that are happening and cast your votes for ones you think are gonna be really beneficial. There's a lot of great people that have a lot of skills and talent in this ecosystem, and being able to give them the opportunity to utilize their talent and work directly for the blockchain and creating things that are going to benefit everyone, I think is going to be really beneficial. Of course, if you can't, if you don't really have the time and you don't, or you just don't have, just a smaller stakeholder, and it's maybe not as worth it for you to spend a huge amount of time researching everything. The other great thing about graphene here is that you can also proxy your vote. So find somebody that you trust. Of course, trust but verify. As I think Ronald Reagan said that. Make sure that you at least have one foot on the ground, and you're keeping track and you're paying attention. A lot of people, and some of these, BitShares is like this to a large degree. A lot of people just put their tokens up on the exchange and they trade them. But there's not, you don't vote when you're putting your tokens on the exchange. So you're not really participating. You're not really, helping secure the network, or helping to make sure that the network really grows the way that it should.
So every vote count. I think we can summarize it with that one, because of course you want to see a lot of voting activity in all platforms where you can vote, not only in the crypto world but also in the political world. that is important. I think that was a very nice summary. I'm looking very much forward to the crowdfunding to the Sunday and see how that all goes down. Let's continue with the next project. Thank you very much for Crypto Prometheus for your information, also for data. If you have a couple of more questions, I think we can put that all into the after party for today. We have a couple of other projects we want to get started and get through. The next project for today is BlockPay. And also the updates from BitShares Munich. So I'm going to give a little overview what we have been doing the last couple of days. And to give you a little bit and goal and a picture where we are going to, and I mean this is going to be a lot of fun. So first of all, BlockPay is growing very, very strongly right now. We hired a couple of more people. We have now 2 business developers, 2 social media marketers. We have new user interface designers coming in. I really hope that we can get them. They are from Ukraine, really, really awesome designers, very nice micro animations. And I'm very looking forward to that we can get them and have them here full-time in-house so they can help us with a better interface for all of our products. And as you can see, I mean, look at the SmartCoins wallet and the BlockPay S wallet. They are more or less a concept design, but I think we can really improve. And this is what we are moving forward to with the next generation of both applications. We're going to have a clear design, very nice colors, nice branding, very smooth everything, so that people who don't really know so much about blockchain, they can easily understand it, they can natively pick it up, use it, and use it in their everyday lives. This is the goal, and we are expanding our teams right now. Rodrigo is very, very busy with a couple of other projects that we are kicking off right now, so it's going to be amazing to see what we're going to do this year. Before we go on to the bigger news, I think I want to talk about a couple of lessons learned from the events. I was talking about that in the BitShares Hangout just an hour ago, that I really see from all the different events I'm attending that right now we have a big we have that movement in the market that actually the old Bitcoiners, the hardcore Bitcoiners, are very, very frustrated about what is happening right now, that is so slow and the expenses are so high for the transactions, and that there's no consensus where to go, how to move forward with Bitcoin. And I think we are like really in a very unique situation right now, where even the big players in the Bitcoin communities are frustrated and are looking for better solutions. And this is what I learned from all the different events, that there's some kind of a consensus that something has to change, something has to get better. And I don't know if Bitcoin Unlimited is going to do the deal, or if Lightning Network will be the final solution. But there's a lot of big challenges coming up, and as I mentioned before as well, if you talk to the big financial institutions and you ask them what is their current status, where are they with their blockchain research, and they tell us they are still stuck on 8 transactions per second. I see huge potential for what we are doing with BitShares Munich, with BlockPay, with the SmartCoins wallet, and I see a lot of good new clients that are coming in our direction right now, because they see like, wow, these guys, they are building blockchain infrastructure in a scale that is pretty good, very fast, very lean. But thanks to the Graphene blockchain and the whole ecosystem that is around it, not only BitShares, but also Steem and PeerPlays, we are creating right now, we are building a new fundament for a completely new economy. And people are picking up to that. People are seeing that, they're seeing the cases, they're seeing the development, the excitement. And I think we will see way more activity from all different communities who are now taking a look into what we have and how successful we can scale. And they will come basically in our direction and see like, wow, I want to get part of that. And I think also one of the big movements into that direction is to say, okay, for example, for the BitShares blockchain, that we are increasing the witness pay from 1.5 to 3 BitShares per block, to say like, hey, we want to have more competition between the witnesses to get a better group of witnesses who are taking control and who are taking care of the blockchain, of the block producing part, so that we can really say like, wow, we have better price feeds, we have more security, we have more active witnesses. And hopefully, I'm really looking forward to that. We also have new members, new partners, new businesses who are coming into the system and are profiting in the synergies that we are creating. So this is a little bit what I learned from the last events, and what we are going to do now in the next couple of months is to partner up with a lot of different elements, partners, blockchain companies. Actually, today, I don't know if you saw the news, we partnered up with the Dash Foundation. So BlockPay and Dash Foundation, we did a big partnership program where we are together aligning our marketing efforts to promote digital currencies for the mainstream. And we are talking to the Dash core team. They are very excited about it because we bring them into 36 countries around the world. We have more and more merchants signing up, getting ready for that. We have a lot of clients in the pipeline who are ready to get integrated, and we are bringing more and more currencies on our path. We're taking them basically in our backpack and bring them to the merchant and say, like, guys, this is it. This is a full package. You can install it. It's totally free. And we are taking all these different communities with us and give them exposure to the world. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And over the next couple of days and weeks, you're going to see more and more partnerships being announced. We have a couple of more in the pipeline, and the Dash community is a good start. We also started to combine with a Cloak Coin, which is a smaller community. They're here in Austria. They're close to Munich, so we contacted to them. And a couple of other partnerships that are part strategic, but also, my vision is to give you an overview of what we want to do with BitShares Munich as a coin agnostic blockchain developing almost a house. We build blockchain products for everybody. I see the challenge that the banks right now are moving very, very fast with blockchain solutions. If you read the latest news about China, the Chinese government is releasing their own digital currencies based on blockchain technologies. I don't know yet what kind of technology they use, but they're moving forward. And when I just read the latest news from Abit, I think that in the chat room, China started to remove all kind of blockchain wallets out of the app stores. So if you have Mycelium wallet in the Chinese app stores, they are deleting that. So they're kicking out the people. So in China, you have less and less ways how to have free, independent money. And you can see that this is happening more and more. And we are in a race against other parties right now. And if we want to take our vision of a digital currency forward, if we really want to get that into the mainstream, because we have to look back, we always have to think about that we are in a bubble, because we are. The global blockchain and Bitcoin community, it's not really that big. It's maybe 3 million people, maybe 3.5. That is dust on a global scale. That is not really a lot of people who are really using Bitcoin in everyday lives. And if you want to put that into the mainstream, we really have to upgrade. We have to upgrade our infrastructure. We have to upgrade our applications, our apps, our tools that we use. And this is a little bit the vision and the mission that I personally have right now, is to talk to top industry players all around the world in the Bitcoin, in the Dash, and the Ethereum industries, to talk to them and say, like, guys, you know what? If we want to take this digital currency vision that we all love, if we want to take that mainstream, we really have to work together. We have to build better applications that the people understand. It was a good start to start out with geeks and with people who have a good understanding of the technology side. But if you want to go mainstream, we need to build products that the people understand, that even regular people on the street, the average Joe, needs to understand how to use these wallets and how to use the money inside. And this is where we get a lot of good positive feedback from a lot of different entities who say, like, yeah, this is really what we need to do, because otherwise I think we have a lot of problems to beat the market, because players are moving very fast. And if we as a blockchain community, if we cannot align our interest, it's going to be very difficult to beat the rest. So in this way, Dash Foundation and BlockPay started the first partnership. We have a couple of more in the pipeline, and I'm very excited to announce them soon, to create more partnerships with other platforms, exchanges, wallet providers, and so on. and I'm looking forward to that. Beside that, we announced this year we're going to be very, very busy until spring. We're going to visiting almost 20 cities worldwide, starting from the 1st of March. I'm going to be in Amsterdam, and then I'm going to be partly in London, going to be back in Berlin. Rodrigo is going to go to Mexico for a couple of bigger festivals and conferences. Rodrigo is also going to be in Panama and then going all the way down to Buenos Aires to meet with the local BitShares and Bitcoin communities to present BlockPay and our vision. And the next couple of weeks, I'm going to go to Singapore. And from Singapore, I'm going to have a little break in Dubai. Dubai can be very interesting. I'm scouting the Bitcoin communities over there and see what we can do. Then we're going over to China. I'm very much looking forward to meet all the Chinese crew of the BitShares communities, meet with BitCrab, meet with all the others in Beijing and Shanghai. And then we have a couple of plans to go to Japan as well, because I think Japan right now is the biggest Bitcoin market, actually. They are getting really, really crazy about Bitcoin right now. So we have to go. We have to see what is going on there. And beside that, we still have coming up the Block Show Europe together in a co-working or in a cooperation with Cointelegraph. BlockPay is one of the main organizers. I'm working very tightly with the Cointelegraph teams to create one of the biggest blockchain shows here in Munich, in Europe. 500 people. We have a lot of interesting speakers on stage. Nat Scott from Steemit is coming, but also the guys from Decent are coming. Cyberfund. We have a couple of bigger sponsors coming in. Deloitte, Roland Berger, a couple of bigger people. So it's going to be a lot of fun. One full day here in Munich, all about blockchain use cases. How can you use it? And we're going to have a big part of our team of BlockPay in Munich. So if you may have the time, 6th of April, come to Munich, join us, have fun at the event. We can give you a lot of good discounts. You can meet the team, you can meet everybody here, and get a better understanding what we are doing, where we are moving forward to. And we are getting quite a lot of people, good people in here right now, and that's very exciting. So this is the current updates from BlockPay. Do we have a couple of questions here?
I have a.
All right.
The partnership Dash, like I have nuts Dash. From what I understand, BlockPay will welcome all. When you enter Dash, is that because BlockPay Dash is this?
The main goal here is to activate the Dash communities and or every Dash member who's holding Dash and is using it. The main target here, of course, is a marketing cooperation because it's not really that we are favoring Dash over Bitcoin or over PeerCoin or Litecoin or Dogecoin. All of those projects are fantastic, and they have their communities. They have people who are spending every day of their life thinking about these coins. And I mean, like it is amazing to see. I mean, we come here together all the time to talk about BitShares and the graphene ecosystem, and in the same way, you have people who come together for Monero, for Litecoin, for Doge, for all of those others. And what we are doing is with these strategic partnerships is to take them on board, give them basically a platform, a way how to piggyback on our marketing efforts and on our business development efforts. Because what we are doing is, when we are putting 1,000 BlockPay stations into the market, or even more, let's say 10,000 BlockPay stations, because we got one of the biggest supermarket chains in the world, and then there's nobody who's going to spend their currencies on that point of sales. All our efforts are lost. All our talkings with the clients, with the merchants is lost if you cannot activate the communities to say like, yes, I want to consume. Yes, I want to use it. So in this way, we are looking constantly for the best user currency. And I'm still looking for, what is it? I don't know if it's Bitcoin. Is it Dash? Is it going to be Litecoin? Is it going to be a Ethereum-based currency? Is it going to be a BitShares-based currency? Is it going to be Steem Dollar? I don't know. But the thing is, at the end, what we are doing is we make it possible that you can pay with the most possible currencies, and that the merchant has no headache at all about that, because the merchant is always on the safe side. He can accept all of those, and we just have to make that happen. And in this way, we are an aggregator of all the different blockchain communities and say, like, this is the way, this is a good tool how to get into the market. How, if you're a small community, think about it. Dogecoin, could you imagine they're going to talk to a McDonald's and get in there? Probably not. I mean, their community is not that big. It's 20,000 people or something. They will never really get into a Starbucks or a McDonald's or a Walmart. But if they are piggybacking over our platform, they have a really, really good chance to get in and to be present and to be used. And this is the vision that we long term have, to trade all the people equally and to get them the opportunity to get in. The only thing we really have to be clear here as well, of course, and we are looking into technologies how to solve that problem. The biggest problem we have is we are supporting already over 10 different currencies that you can pay with. But if you have a screen in a supermarket, there's just a limited space. I cannot put 200 currencies on that screen in Walmart. So I have to basically make a decision to say, okay, I rank it according to the market cap. So the currencies with the most market cap going to be visible, and all the others are not going to be visible for the stores, for the brick and mortar. At least that is it today. On an online shop, in an e-commerce environment, if you have the plugins ready for Shopify, for WooCommerce, for Magento, then you can basically do a search and you can say, hey, I want to pay with BitCrystals or whatever. So then that is possible. What we are still working on, and we have to see if we can solve that problem, if we can generate a multi-QR code where when you scan the code, we somehow figure out what kind of currency you are going to send to us, and then we can accept whatever you send us. We are working on that, but we also have NFC technologies. We are working with NFC. I think it's a third generation. In that moment, we can clearly identify what currency do you want to send us, and then we can manage all the rest. So in this way, when we have the NFC technology ready, you can walk up with any kind of currency at the store and just dump it into, and we're going to manage all the rest. The store is getting his money, and you're just happy because you paid with BitCrystal or whatever. Do we have a couple of more questions? All right. So these are the current updates from our side, from BlockPay. If you want to reach out, if you have further questions about us, or if you want to stay up to date what is happening, I think one of the best ways is to go to our social media sites. You can find us on Facebook. On Facebook, we have one main channel for BlockPay, and then we have national language channels. So if you speak Spanish or you want to have the news in Chinese or in French and so on, you find all the different subgroups for the different countries, so you can easily find the right connection and access to our global ambassador network. You can also follow us on Twitter. We're easy to find. You can also follow me personally on Twitter, where I'm always going to give a couple of comments about when I'm at events. I'm going to comment to people and give you a couple of insights, what is happening behind the scenes. We are also on Steemit. Also, you can send us a mail. Just send us a mail at christoph@blockpay.ch, and you can easily reach out to us every week. We also have a Discord channel. You can find information on our website, how to join that channel, where we have most of our ambassadors available to talk and to chat. They are always around there when they're not talking with a couple of clients. And in this way, we're looking forward for the next week. We are very busy onboarding all the new people, and I'm ready to welcome our new designers coming from Ukraine, and to get all the new designs ready for the second generations of our applications. And I'm very also excited. In the second generation of our applications, we're going to have almost everything on CIPFS. So right now you see that the SmartCoins wallet and BlockPay is under heavy development, because we are more and more adding the CIPFS technologies that we are finished into our core products. So right now we have almost 1 or 2 updates every week. And so don't be surprised if a small thing is not working yet. Both apps are under heavy development right now. And with the second generation, we're going to have a completely relaunch of the user interface. It's going to be easier. It's going to be a little bit different of the colors and of the micro animations. And it's going to be a really solid app that going to be a lot of fun for everybody to use. So I'm looking forward to those releases, and I'm very excited to share the latest updates. All right, guys, let's move on with the next project. I think we have, as the next person, I'm just checking here, Good Karma from eSteem. Are you here?
Yes, I am.
All right, take us away. What is happening with eSteem?
Hello everyone, and it's good to be back here again. And this week I'm going to talk about our recent updates and some of the new features which we brought up with the recent version. If you have been in touch, or if you have been using app and following previous Beyond Bitcoin Hangouts, in the last Hangout we mentioned that we launched a multi-chain support on eSteem. So you could use Steem and Golos chain as you like. So users coming from Russia or Russian-speaking communities can use Golos chain as they like, and all other language users or international users can use Steem blockchain for their blog post, or they can use both and cross-post their post if they translate it in different community languages. In recent updates, we added increase on multi-chain support. We added multi-account support, where you can have your one or two or a number of accounts on an app, and you can use them together. So in a way, now you can easily add. Let's say you have 2 accounts on Steem and 1 account on Golos. So you can add all of them in eSteem and use them as you go. So you can easily change between your accounts, and let's say you found one article and you upvote with one of your account and go to change to another account and comment and so on. So this multi-account is in a way very, very useful, because everyone has different accounts. One might use one account for the personal users, one for the business users. So this is kind of another step moving forward, where we allow all your accounts to be used from eSteem. And in the future, it will get better and better, so we can easily, the integration or the migration from one account to another will be easier in app.
Does it also mean that I can send money from Steem to Golos? Is that possible?
Not yet. That's not possible yet. But in the future, once we have a BitShares integration, it will be possible as well. So for now, it's just Steem and Golos and multi-accounts, but we will get there this time. And another change which we made following the multi-account change was to support notifications. Now, when you have a multi-account on your eSteem app, you should be naturally want notification for that account. So we updated our backend code so it will support notifications as well. So it doesn't matter what chain you are in. So if you have on eSteem your Steem account and you have also your Golos accounts, you can enable your notification for both accounts and receive it on the same device.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit more about the BitShares integration? What are you planning here?
BitShares is kind of future plans. It's still in planning stage, so it will be coming as a extra token, or it will be like we have on eSteem exchange part, where right now it's only view mode, so you can see internal market prices of Steem or Golos. But in future, it will be like more like exchange, where you can exchange your earnings from one currency to another, like just like saying you have you made blog post and you earned some token, let's say Steem and Golos, so you can convert them to any currency you want via exchanges inside app.
So that means basically when I earned Steem tokens and I want to convert them, then I can basically buy other bit assets like BitUSD within the eSteem app,
yes. Correct? Yes, oh, wow. Exactly. Yes, and well, that's kind of in the future, in the long-term plans. But yeah, I think you already have seen probably the multi-currency support. You can see your blog post rewards in any currency you want. So right now we have 12 currencies. So in case you haven't checked it, you can go on settings page and choose any currency you want. So you can see your earnings in any currency. Let's say you are a fan of Bitcoin, so you can set it up and see your post reward in the Bitcoin. And Yeah, another changes is as for multi-notifications, so you get the notifications for all the accounts you added on eSteem. And the next change was we added the slider. It's just the initial sample release of a slider where you can tap on voting and hold for 500 milliseconds. It will show up the slider, so you can change your voting rate anytime you vote on a post or comment. And in the future we will improve it to have some range of.
Good comment. Did you move a little bit back from your microphone? We're losing you.
Is it better?
Now it's better. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, voting slider will also get better, and in future releases we're thinking to have some range of percentage, so you can quickly select what will be your voting rate, and you can upvote post and comment.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the marketplace? I don't know if you already introduced that.
Yes, marketplace is in a way it's incentivizing other people to build their services on top of eSteem. Right now in eSteem we have users and they are mobile users, so some users want to use some of the features or some of the tools from Steem community or from Steem tools or Golos tools to easily use on eSteem. So marketplace is for developers to build their plugin and offer it to eSteem users. In a way, you can have let's say you build a voting bot or following bot. Like let's say you want to follow someone and they're voting. You can build a plugin for it, and we can integrate it on eSteem, and you can make it even let's say steamvoters.com has let's say $3 Steem per month, if I'm correct. So you can build some sort of services where you can get revenue model from your plugin, and that's kind of the idea with marketplace, where you will have a number of services or tools or applications inside eSteem for the eSteem users, so they don't have to leave app, but they can use it inside. That's the idea. And does that answer or give idea?
Yeah, I think it sounds good.
And next updates was on the languages. We recently changed our platform for the translators and contributors, and we are happy to say a lot of people joined to the new job. Quite easy to manage languages, and we have 20 languages now, and community around that language is increasing. We can see a number of people joining and translating eSteem on their own language, so that other people from same language can join and increase the community around it.
How can they, if I want to do a German translation, how can I help you?
You can join translate.eSteem.ws.
We just lost you. Can you repeat that, please?
It's translate.eSteem.ws.
Awesome.
Website.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can quickly join on translation team, and you can review what's already translated and add your comment, discussion, and improve the language. And all credits will be given, and it's inside app. You can see in about page all the translators. You can check their profiles, and you can support them, follow them, and they are doing quite good job and translating. And it's all voluntary based. And we are also incentivizing them by paying the rewards from language update posts, so that they take their time and translate, and we want to support them, and we're doing our best to support them and giving some reward. And that was from recent updates, and I can talk about what's coming next and what features we are working right now. And we are currently improving. The last couple days I have implemented better usage of the user change and chain changes. Right now when you change your chain from Golos to Steem, we have to kind of reload the app to get better experience, but we improved that to much better and efficient and faster way, so that you don't have to feel any.
Good camera. Now your microphone just died. When you we have a question here from Fuzzy. Let's look into that. He's asking, do you see the PeerPlays chain service being able to be integrated into eSteem? This would enable people to bet on games while being on Steam and promote the event or outcomes on Steam or galas.
Yes, that's possible. In one of my early posts, I think 1 month or 2 months ago, I mentioned about games on Steam, but it can be on any chain. It can be PeerPlays as well, and we can integrate that on because they rely on same technology, same kind of APIs, and the same WebSocket and same technology. So we can easily integrate that and build apps on a mobile, so that users can interact with each other and earn token extra.
Well, it's gonna be amazing. Think about it. You could have you could announce a competition between two players on Steam, let the people vote, and then you can also collect the money and invest it on PeerPlays, and then you can have a real nice ecosystem around watching people play.
Yeah, that's exactly was that. When I made the article, it was about one example where two players can play chess together on Steam, and some people vote on their each move and support players. So that was. And quick update. What's coming next is we will be adding the lights on and off feature, where you can some users suggest that during night. Some people night readers, so for their eyes, current interface is kind of very bright. So we will add a feature where you can change light on and off, so you get the night mode for easier reading and not too easy for your eyes. And
I was actually wondering. I'm sometimes using the app, and when the stream is loading, with all the different headlines and so on, sometimes it doesn't load the pictures, and then I get this dummy picture that tells me, "Sorry, picture couldn't be loaded." What is that? Is it because my internet connection is so bad, or?
No, because it's right now Steam relies on third parties. Most people upload their picture to third parties, but currently they have their own servers. But still, image has to be loaded from external source, so sometimes that source is not available, and it's not entirely on blockchain. When you're requesting the image from server, it might not return that image data. So instead of showing nothing, we just put that. Image is not reachable or image is not available picture.
It could be the picture could be hosted on a service, and then the service could just say, okay, the file is not available anymore. Because I think if you post your own post, you will check it that the pictures are working, right? So it's more later on, I don't know, the pictures are deleted or something.
Yeah, on a blockchain, data stays for forever. But servers where you upload your picture doesn't stay forever, and they are centralized. Sometimes they go down and picture is not available. So that was one of the solutions, which we just show the thumbnail of some random just image is not available or not reachable kind of message.
Okay, so then that makes sense, because sometimes I have this really cool post and I would really love to see the pictures. So damn it, it's not available. So I thought it's maybe something with the application itself, or is it maybe my bad internet connection in the subway or something?
Yeah, it might be because of connection as well. So once app cannot reach image, then it shows that custom image if it cannot reach the image link.
All right. Do we have more questions do you have more updates?
One more thing which will come next, in addition to lights on and off, and we will add the escrow transfers where users can transfer. Right now we have already the transfer functionality, and we have integration with the BlockPay as well. And we will add the escrow transfers where you can choose your agent and transfer funds through escrow.
Wow. So tell us a little bit more about that. That sounds amazing.
Well, Steem already has escrow functionality, but there is not a proper GUI for it yet. Recently, from Gola's community, there was a Xstar, I guess the username Xstar added similar made GUI for it, but there is no standard for it yet. So I think we will kind of implement it first and see what community says and how it works out. And one of initial idea is to have your account JSON metadata and have it there, your escrow terms and fee and information, and any user can look up which user they want to choose as their agent and see your terms and fees and choose you as their agent or not.
And is there like a smart contract involved, or how do you ensure that the escrow is working?
Well, it's everything is on a blockchain. So when you send, let's say when I send you some amount of money, and it's kind of the contract. I guess it works same as in BitShares, if I'm not mistaken. So you use, let's say if we make contract and I send you money and I don't deliver the goods, or you don't deliver the goods, and there is an agent which can dispute the money back to the sender. So it is kind of in a way you can make contracts and use your reputation or Steem reputations to decide if you want to choose some user as your agent and send the transfer. Because when you want to send, for example, some users which is new to the system and don't have reputation, you don't want to send them directly fund, so you can choose someone as your agent and make it more trustable. And
All right, sounds very good.
Great. If there is any questions, I would be happy to answer. Sure. Well, that's why there will be a kind of process where we will review the source code before we integrating it. So it will not be like and it will have to be open source, because eSteem itself is open source, and the plugin which is building on top of it should be also open source, so people can monitor what it is doing.
Excellent.
Because ultimately it comes down to eSteem, and we will have to publish it on both Google Play and Apple App Stores, and it has to be secure.
So that means basically people can submit a plugin, but you have to check it first before it's going to be integrated into the platform, correct?
Yes, during integration there will be testing period, and we will check the source code and for the security audit and everything. But I'm not sure that we will have complex plugins, because most of the features eSteem has is kind of providing all the social functionalities. So once we will have, for example, games as a plugin, then we will have to review and monitor the source code and check for security.
All right, we have one more question here from Fuzzy. He was wondering on the question if you are considering to create an eSteem token and to create a crowdfunding so that you can fund more development for a longer time.
Crowdfunding. I'm not sure about crowdfunding yet, because we have. Main goal right now is to build a system and at least have a way for people to join and use cryptocurrency easily. So one way is to have everything in place first, have registration and proper way to implement plugins and functionalities and stable increase in the development. And bringing another token is kind of, right now, it might complicate things, but at the same time, it helps with the development. And by doing crowdfunding, we might able to afford more developers and incentivize them to build more plugins. But we will see. These details are still not. I'm not sure yet.
So right now, you're working actually on eSteem full time, or is it more a weekend project?
No, it's full time. I have been on Steem for full time for last 7 months, building different apps and tools, and full time.
Not bad, not bad. That's pretty impressive. I mean, I use eSteem a lot, and it's really a cool program. I love it.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on with the next topic for today. We have Virtual Growth. I don't know, can you already start talking, or are you still blocked? Maybe you give us a short answer in the chat room. Okay, so he's still busy. Then we will move on to the next speaker for today. Timcliff, take us away.
Hello, everyone. Before I get started, I just want to do a quick mic check. Can everybody hear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I'm really excited to be here today. IntelliGuy talked to me about a month ago and mentioned this show. I'd seen a little bit about it before through Steam It posts, but I didn't know much about it. And he suggested that I come on and talk a little bit about what I'm doing with Steam It and my work as a backup witness. And so that's why I'm here today. Excuse me, I'm a little nervous. I've actually never done anything like this before, but I am very excited to do this. My plan is to just start out for about 5 minutes talking a little bit about myself and how I got into Steam It, and then I'm going to get into some more of the details about what a Steam It witness is, talk about some of the concepts like delegated proof of stake, block rounds. I'm going to go into the witness pay, talk about some of the parameters that witnesses have the ability to control, and just other things that witnesses do on the Steem blockchain. I'll be talking about some of the projects that I'm working on, and then I'll wrap it up by giving a plug for people to try out the Steem It platform as a beta tester. So the way that I got into Steem It was through my brother. We've always been good friends since I was young, and one thing that we've always had in common is we like finding ways to make money. So just to give an example, when I was in high school, we were really into a computer game called Diablo 2. I don't know how many of you played that before, but one of the fun parts of that game was that there was an online economy that was kind of built into the game, and they had these rings that you could get in the game through playing called Stone of Jordan rings, and the Stone of Jordan rings were kind of like the currency in the game, so you could collect several of those rings and trade those for more important items in the game. And so like there was a really cool bow that your character could get called a Wind Force, and a lot of times it would take about 40 Stone of Jordan rings to buy a Wind Force. And what my brother and I found is that people were actually willing to pay those items. And so for example, a Wind Force would actually go for about 75 or 80 US dollars is what a lot of people were willing to pay. And so we actually formed a business around that. We created a website called d2yrq.com, and we were actually in the business of buying and selling items in the Diablo 2 game. And we made about $35,000 over the course of a summer, and we always joke with my parents that we'd be millionaires today if they didn't make me go to school. Basically, we ended up stopping that business because I had to go to college, and it was pretty much a full-time job, but it was a lot of fun. And that kind of got me into the concept of digital currencies and just the idea that there are ways of using things as a currency besides just standard US dollars. So that was kind of my introduction to it. And I remember my brother introduced us to Bitcoins as a family. He wasn't super early in on it, but I remember when he was first talking about it, they were worth about $35 per Bitcoin, and he was, trying to convince all my family that it's a good investment. And my dad, who was a stockbroker, was kind of, playing the devil's advocate and just arguing the side of, there really isn't any value to these coins. Why would somebody invest in something? And then, here we are today talking about Bitcoins being worth over $1,000. So anyway, over the years, my brother has always talked a lot about different cryptocurrencies. He gave everyone in our family $25 worth of Litecoins for Christmas one year. He talked about a lot of different coins over the years, saying that they'd be good investments. He mentioned like Monero, Makecoin, and several others. I've always been on kind of a tight budget, so as he's mentioned these things, I really didn't have a lot of money to invest, but I always found it interesting. So I've kind of been exposed to cryptocurrencies over the years through him, and I've learned a lot about them just through the information that he's passed along. So anyway, one day, probably a few months ago, back in July, I was on Facebook, and I saw this post from my brother that said, "Attention bloggers, if you blog and have not checked out steemit.com, this post is for you." So I saw it, but I thought to myself, well, I'm not really a blogger, so I kind of just ignored it and moved on. But then a few hours later, I saw another post from him, and the post said, "If you blog or enjoy surfing the internet, you need to click this link," in big caps. Okay, I thought I enjoy surfing the internet, so I guess I'll check this Steemit thing out. I spent the next hour or so reading up on Steemit, and the gist is that there's all these content websites out there like Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, and a lot of these platforms are worth billions of dollars. And part of the reason is because of all that content that's on there makes those platforms valuable. And what's interesting is all the content on those sites is coming from the users, and us as users are the ones providing all that content. A lot of times we're doing it for free. So one of the concepts behind Steemit was that they wanted to take all this value that was generated by the users and use that to reward the users in the community for the contributions that they make. In addition, it's the users themselves that get to decide on what's valuable, and it's a stake-based platform, so the more of the Steem coins that you have, the more stake that you have in the platform, the more say you have on what gets rewarded on the site. It was a really cool concept, I thought, so I ended up talking to my brother about it, and even though I didn't have a lot of money to invest, I said, I really want to get in on this. Can I get $250 worth of Steem? Can you help me buy that? And at the time, Steem was about $4, and so that would have bought me 66 Steem coins, and my brother, who's a little bit smarter than me when it comes to all the cryptocurrency stuff, was trying to talk me out of it, saying, $4 is pretty high considering a lot of different things, and the smart thing to do would be to wait until it comes down quite a bit before buying in. And I said, no, I want to get in right now. This thing could surpass Facebook one day as far as the users, and one coin could be worth thousands of dollars. I don't want to miss out on an opportunity just to get a little bit better return. So I had my brother buy me my first Steem, and I got 66 Steem for my $250, which is still part of my account today. And over my time on the platform, I've actually earned quite a few more just through blogging and being a witness and lots of other activities. So I'm actually up to a little over, I think, 15,000 Steem right now. So I've increased my investment by quite a bit, more through involvement in the platform, though, than through actual financial investment. I bought a little bit more, but most of the Steem that I have on my account today I have earned through participation on the platform. That's a little bit about myself. I'll start talking now about some more of the witness concepts. So first of all is the concept of delegated proof of stake. So I think most of the people here are probably familiar with Bitcoin and a lot of blockchains and how the proof of work concept is done, as far as the miners are all trying to find blocks, and when they find and produce a block, they get paid. The way that Steemit works is a little bit different in that instead of it being pure computing power, whoever mines or produces the block is actually determined by the blockchain. The way that they do that is through witnesses. And so the witnesses are members of the community that have been voted on by the stakeholders, the people with the Steem coins, and they're basically deciding on who they want to produce the blocks. So with the current way that it's set up, there's 19 top witnesses, and then there's a list of backup witnesses, and then there's also a pool of proof of work miners. And so when you combine those together, the mining or the block production is done in rounds. Each round consists of 21 blocks, and a new round is produced every 3 seconds. So within that one round where there's 21 blocks, each of the top 19 witnesses will produce one block, plus they'll choose one randomly chosen witness out of the backup list, and one proof of work miner from the miner pool will be the 21 block producers for that round. And the backup witnesses with more votes are more likely to be selected as the one backup witness per block to produce the one backup witness per round to produce the block for that round based on the backup witness pool.
So right now you are part of the backup witnesses, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
I think I'm ranked at number 46. And just based on the other witnesses that are in the backup pool, that averages out to, I produce a little more than 1 block per hour. It's probably 1 block every 50 minutes or so.
That is because of the random position that backup witnesses can have, correct?
That's correct.
Well, it's still good. I mean, like this way you, in the Steem blockchain, you have this really cool thing that the witnesses, that you have the one position that everybody can get. And I was wondering how that really works and how you get into that.
Yeah, so basically, as far as how you get into it, there's a few different guides on Steemit where, if you Google or if you search how to become a Steem witness, there's a bunch of different guides, and they're all similar steps as far as, procuring a server, installing an instance of the blockchain, getting that up and running, and then through the command line, basically telling the blockchain of your intent to become a witness. And essentially, once you set that up, you're a witness, and then in order to start producing blocks, you have to get votes from the community. So you essentially have to make the case that you're going to become a good witness, and then people vote on you, and as you collect more votes, you move higher up in the backup witness line, and the higher up you are in the line, the more frequently you'll get assigned blocks.
Okay, and do you have any kind of strategy how to climb, how to get more popular among all the others?
I do. So I'll touch on that in a little bit, but there's a few other things that I want to talk about first. So if you don't mind, I'll save that if I've got some time at the end. But I want to cover a little bit more just as far as the concepts of how all the actual witness stuff works. So I think people are kind of interested in that.
Chris got left.
I think it's another 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, I appreciate that. So I am going to skip over a little bit just because I want to cover a few certain things. So as a witness, there's a few different parameters that you can control. One of them is the registration fee of how much it costs a website like Steem or another platform to sign up a new user. You also get to set rate of how much Steam-backed dollars earn the holders for holding on to those. And so basically all the witnesses are setting what they believe is the best interest rate, and then the blockchain is going to take the median out of the top 19 witnesses to determine what the actual interest rate is for the blockchain. They're also producing a price feed. I think a lot of you are familiar with that from some of the other blockchain projects, but basically all of the witnesses are monitoring the price of Steem and then reporting that back to the blockchain so that it has an accurate amount of how much the price is. And the witnesses are also doing a lot of other things, like a lot of the witnesses are hosting seed nodes for the network, and so basically those are public instances of the blockchain that both other witnesses and just the general community can use for downloading a copy of the blockchain. And there's also just different ways of setting up the seed nodes. Some of them let people actually do API calls to them, and some of them are more just read-only nodes. An interesting role of the witnesses on Steemit is that they're essentially the ones who make the decisions on whether or not hard forks go into effect. So if the developers create an update to the Steem blockchain that requires a hard fork, it requires a majority of the top 19 witnesses to pick up that hard fork in order for it to take effect. So it stands as a way for the community to basically have a way to prevent a bad hard fork from going into effect, because essentially if the witnesses don't decide to pick it up, then the hard fork will not take place. I wanted to talk a little bit about the community of witnesses because I think it's a really unique aspect of Steemit. You think that because all the witnesses are kind of competing with each other to earn the top 19 spots, and that the other witnesses getting more votes from you would take away from your pay, that it would be a fairly competitive group of people, but I've actually found that it's a really fun community to be a part of. Everyone there is very helpful. They're probably some of the more knowledgeable people on the platform about how everything works, and I think that everybody in the witness community all feel like we're on the same team and that we're kind of working together towards the same goal, which is to make the platform succeed. And so to kind of touch on the earlier question, really what sets a lot of the witnesses apart is the way that they add value to the platform. So they're all including myself, trying to get votes from the community and trying to make the case that they're a good witness. And so one of the best ways to do that is by working on projects that add value to the community. And so I've worked on quite a few projects since I joined, and basically what I found is, the community is very dynamic, and so the needs of what they want at certain points of times change, and so I've tried to focus on projects that seem to deal with the problems of whatever the community is concerned with at the time. So when I first joined, Steemit was a very bare bones beta platform, and there wasn't a lot of features, and so the community was very vocal about all the things they wanted added. They wanted to be able to follow people, they wanted to be able to see what their friends were doing, and so there was all kinds of posts in the community about different features to add. And so the first big project that I worked on was called the Steemit wish list, and basically what I did was I spent a lot of time just reading and collecting all the posts that the various users had put together as far as enhancements for the platform, and I combined it into a giant aggregated list of basically, here's what the community wants. And it was a comprehensive outline of all the different enhancements that people have been asking for and suggestions that have been making. And it got a lot of attention. It was actually quite exciting. I got Dan, who was one of the founders of the platform, actually uploaded my post, and several of the developers from the official Steemit dev team had commented on it, just as far as saying that there's a lot of great ideas, and they gave their feedback and thoughts about that. So it was a really exciting project, and it was one of the first things that kind of got me going as far as really being involved with the project. And so once that was done, I think that kind of helped to address that need. So another need that came up was that the communication from the Steemit dev team was horrible, and so there was lots of complaints about that. And so I actually talked to some of the developers offline, and they made the suggestion that someone should basically report on what was going on in GitHub, which is where all the open source development takes place. They're actually fairly transparent as far as the stuff that they're working on, but a lot of people aren't very technically savvy, and so they're not going to go in and dig through issues and code and stuff like that. So basically what I started doing was parsing out all the activity that was going on in GitHub, and then creating an aggregated report of here's what the Steemit dev team has been working on. And so that's actually been a really successful project as well, and something that I still continue doing this day. And a lot of people find it really helpful to kind of get the non-technical view into what the dev team is working on, and it helps to bridge that gap as far as the community knowing what it is that the development team is working on. So another feedback that we got was that the new user experience wasn't very good. It's a beta platform, and so a lot of people, when they get to a beta website, have expectations as far as everything's really user friendly, and sometimes that wasn't the case. And so an idea that I came up with was to have a welcome to Steemit page, and basically as soon as a new user creates an account on the website, having a landing page that they're taken to that basically says welcome to Steemit, and then has a bunch of useful information as far as here's how to get started, here's some tips, and a bunch of different blog posts from the community as far as helpful hints on how to get started. So I worked with Bitcoiner, who's another one of the backup witnesses, and the two of us together basically put together a page and submitted a pull request to the Steemit GitHub repository, and it's actually up on the live page today, which is pretty cool. So basically now when new users sign up for the website, the first thing they see is that web page, and it's got a whole bunch of helpful information that shows new users basically how to get started and just some tips for using the platform. How am I doing on time?
Oh, I think you're doing pretty good, but what I hear basically from you is if you want to be recognized as a witness, and if you want to climb the ranks, there's a lot of cool things you can do, like you mentioned, to basically just track what are the people doing on GitHub, what are the devs doing, are they making any progress, add new content, suggest new websites, and so on. I think that is a very strong signal in the right direction, because I don't know if you're aware, but on the BitShares blockchain, we also just increased the witness page. We are looking for new witnesses who are active, who are contributing, and I'm very much looking forward. What are the things, how people and how witnesses can compete against each other and say, like, this is what I do, dear community, and please vote for me if you like what I do. And you brought up, I think, a couple of very great examples why Steem people should vote for you, because you're actively contributing, bringing value to the blockchain, and I think that is great.
Excellent, thank you. So I've got my own stopwatch here. It looks like I'm running low on time, so I'll just wrap up with kind of the last point, which is I don't know how many people that are listening have actually used the Steem platform before, but I would highly encourage all of you to create an account and try it out. It's a beta platform, and so basically what that means is it's not a finished product, and I think the majority of the people in the community have a good understanding of what that means, and that there's going to be certain features that would be great to have that aren't there yet. You might find an occasional glitch, but essentially it is a live running platform that's running on the Steem blockchain, and the coins that you get are real Steem currency. You can take them and buy and sell them on an exchange. So when you are, even though it's a beta website, it is fully functional, and it's a great time to be involved in the platform, because I think the community that we have right now is it's a tight-knit, smaller community of a few thousand people, but I think all the people that are here today are really into the project and find it exciting, and are all doing their own things as far as trying to steer the direction of the platform and make it successful. So it's a really exciting time to be on the platform, and I feel that over the next few years we're going to start to see some of the potential that it has to offer as far as expanding the user base to a significantly more user base, and adding a lot of new cool functionality that's going to make the user experience better. And so getting in at this point and kind of getting your presence known and building your following while the community is still small is really a great time to be involved, and I hope I'll see all of you there.
All right, cool. Thank you very much for your updates, and looking forward to learn more about what you're doing and what is the next strategies, why we should vote for you. But I think today we have a lot of Steem people here. I think you got a couple of new votes, and I'm looking forward how you're making progress, how you're growing, and I'm wishing your best luck that you're going to become one of the active witnesses in the Steem ecosystem, because we are looking for people. We're looking for people who are active, who contribute, who are curious how we can make the platform better. And I think you just gave us a very good introduction. Thank you very much for that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
I think then we can ramp it up for today. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining this week's Mumble at the Beyond Bitcoin Hangout. It was a lot of new insights, a lot of cool things that happened, and I'm very thankful that everybody joined us.
La 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 la.